Welcome, welcome, everyone. Another episode of Two Monkeys on a Microphone. This is episode 8. For some reason, Ethan thought we were on episode 9. He's ahead of time, I guess. Last episode, we were talking about success and how to be a successful person. Ethan was very interested in that topic. I'm glad it's done. I'm happy with today's topic, which isn't really a topic. It's more of a ranking. So we're going to be ranking old movies that we saw as a kid and seeing which one's the best. Now, there's a lot of old movies where we were kind of aiming around the 2000s era. And we also narrowed it down by the movies we've seen, like both me and Ethan. So if I saw a movie and he didn't see it, we didn't put it on the list, and vice versa too. And then if we have a little bit of time afterwards, we're going to be ranking Disney princess movies, which is going to be also very exciting. So a few of the Disney princess movies are not on our official list right now, but we're going to be ranking them on our second list afterwards as a little bit of a bonus. So be excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun today. A little bit more carefree than last podcast.
Yeah, like as a sort of, just to balance things out. I should go over like why we're doing this real quick so that our viewers can catch up. I feel like it would be fun to talk about the movies that we watched as a kid. Not only that, but also these movies, I feel like they're people don't talk about it enough. So, I feel like we'll talk about our favorite movies and also give these sort of niche movies a light. Not every single movie on this list is it's unpopular. Like we have Cars. That movie is like, everyone knows about that movie. Coraline as well. But you get the idea. And also we're doing this separately. So we're recording this on YouTube. But also, if you're watching on Spotify, we can try to describe to you so that you will follow through. But anyway, that's everything. Shall we start?
Sure, let's start.
Okay.
Let's start with the first movie, which I believe is Chicken Little.
That's Chicken Little, yeah.
Yes, the sky's falling down. Now, again, I think in my case, and probably Ethan's case, our memory is very fuzzy of the movies.
Yeah.
Here, because we watched them when we were like 5, 7-ish.
Tiny monkeys.
So it's like we're really basing it off of nothing. So please don't get offended at us. We're just like here to have fun, really. Now, to start off with Chicken Little.
Chicken Little.
I remember that it was like the main character was like obsessed with the sky falling down.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually like aliens or something come out and like the sky is actually falling down and it's caused by the aliens or something like that. And
yeah.
I didn't find the movie to be that great, to be honest. I don't remember much of it. And at the time, I thought the animation kind of looked a little janky.
Janky, yeah, that was the word.
And just looking at the movie poster, I can totally see why I thought it was janky as a kid. So if I had to rate it, I'd probably rate it in C tier.
C tier, okay.
Yes.
Well, my take on it is that the plot itself... Okay, so like here's the thing. I watched this a lot of times because back then, for some reason, Disney kind of like aired this for a couple of months, right? So like you would watch this movie like every Thursday afternoon or something. So I watched this movie a lot. I don't think the plot...
Just wait, Ethan.
What?
Did you have cable?
I did. Why?
And you were like telling me about how poor you were and how much suffering you went through. I didn't have cable. I saw this in theaters, and that was the only time I ever saw it. If I wanted to see it again, I had to rent it from Blockbusters.
But like,
I'm starting to see like some cracks.
Okay,
in the poverty story
how old
here.
were you back then?
I don't remember. When did the movie come out? I saw it in theaters.
Because like I didn't watch this when it came out. I watched this like after years later. Like years and years
you
later.
watched this trash years later. I watched it when it came out as an event, and then I was like, wow, good thing I never have to watch this ever again. So you probably have like a crystal clear memory of this thing. Then.
Yeah, I watch it a lot. So just like I said, like there was a time where Disney just like put this on for like a couple of weeks. So every Thursday afternoon or something, you just like watching Chicken Little while having dinner. So yeah. So anyway, the plot, I don't think it was that good, but like the only thing that I have that I remember about this movie is about the father. I think he was like the worst father that Disney ever produced. Like how can you get the guy that's so and trust me, I'm not the only one in this. Like I feel like people hate the father a lot for the reason that is he's not very supportive. He's always, get in the way of the main character, but also he would throw his son under the bus just for no reason at all. And I feel like that's a little bit unfair for Chicken Little. And I think that's kind of like ruined the movie a little bit because I want to like it, but at the same time, I just hate the father so much. So C tier for me, I think.
C tier. Okay.
Yeah, maybe D as well, just for that reason.
Yeah, like it depends like how the others go, but I'd put it in C for now, and then we can maybe move it down later.
Sure, yeah. C tier. So the first one,
Okay.
Chicken Little, C tier. That's for our Spotify
Next one.
listeners. Next one, Peter Pan. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, Peter Pan. There's so many iterations of Peter Pan, but we're like talking about the animated one.
Mm-hmm.
And like looking back at the animated one, it was pretty offensive. Like if you look at like how indigenous people were portrayed,
Yeah.
Peter Pan, it's like people have problems with Pocahontas. You should look at Peter Pan. That's like the most stereotypical like movie I've ever seen. I never liked it as a kid. I thought it was like the Captain Hook was kind of cool, and like the flying ship was good.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought like Peter Pan was like this arrogant, like
Little
prick almost.
brat.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, come to my world," and then he's like, showing everyone around, and he knows everything. He's just like, the flawless character. It was like it's an interesting story. It's very imaginary, but it isn't like what I'd call an S tier movie by any means. Like I'd put Dumbo over Peter Pan any day. I'd say B tier for Peter Pan.
B tier. That's pretty high. I don't know.
Okay.
Because my
What do
take
you
is
say? What do you say, Ethan?
well, I would say the only thing memorable about this movie for me is that it was set in World War II, right? So a little girl living with his mother, and his father is probably like out in the battle or something. So like he has this little magical night, so that she can forget about the fact that Britain was going through the war. And I think that's like that's the only good memory that I have about the movie. Like like sometimes life is hard. You kind of imagine you just want to escape it, and I feel that. But then everything else, just like you said, I just don't like it that much.
Look, so World War II, yeah, that's a good setting. Now, I don't remember if Narnia was set in World War II, but I'm pretty sure it was set kind of around that time period. Narnia is like 10 times better than Peter Pan. So like, if I consider it like next to Narnia, it's like it's nothing. It's not good at all. Like I'd watch Narnia instead of Peter Pan. It's way more like every character matters in Narnia. The fantasy setting is much more interesting. The villain is way better than Captain Hook. As much as I like Captain Hook, Narnia like every day.
Oh, that's my phone. But anyway, I agree with you. I mean, it's like I said, that's like the only thing that I like about a movie. But other than that, it's kind of meh. It's kind of that movie's happened. I'll put it in C tier, maybe behind Chicken Little.
Behind Chicken Little, I'd put it above Chicken Little, but
Okay.
we can put it behind.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we have so far C tier, Chicken Little, then Peter Pan.
Okay.
Next movie.
Brother Bear. Now this movie is special. it's pretty darn relatable. I mean, I didn't have any brother that died, but the story that it tells, I feel like I can find myself in it. So, I'm kind of biased. But what do you think? Let's hear it from you.
Kind of reminds me of was it Big Hero 6? The one where like the brother dies. And then,
Yeah,
like, there's
that's Big Hero
Max.
6. Yeah, Big Hero 6, yeah.
But yeah, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I watched Brother Bear at a friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really get, that
The-
good viewing experience because of it. So I
Huh.
don't know if I could give it a fair shake,
Mhm.
but just based off of the animation,
Mhm.
just like how smooth it is,
Mhm.
I'd say like B tier, A tier, around there.
Yeah. It's pretty high up there, I would say. The plot is good. It's pretty dark for a kid movie, I would say. Like you have to deal with death and, the fact that, you have to have griefs and stuff. So it's pretty dark for a kid movie, I feel like. I like I almost avoided it when I was a kid because how dark it was for me. So, but yeah.
I know you haven't watched this, but like I found the Balto movies were like I'd choose the Balto movies over Brother Bear, but
Really?
I might be the minority there.
Well, then, let's say B tier, maybe A.
Yeah, B tier. I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay. A
We
Bug's
can move it
Life.
up.
Next one.
Bug's Life. Okay. I actually made a mistake. I thought you were talking about bees
hmm
when you said Bug's Life.
The B movie.
Yeah, the bee movie. I don't know if we have the bee movie here, but
No, we don't.
I've never watched Bug's Life.
Okay, skip it then.
I watched the bee movie. Should we like replace? Have you watched the bee movie?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so let's pretend Bug's Life is the bee movie
All right, yeah, okay.
instead. Okay, the bee movie. I'd say D tier.
What? No, what? Why? That's such a. Okay, let's hear yours.
I only remember one joke from it, and it
Okay.
was a really good joke. And
Uh-huh.
that's like when they're flying, and then like he like catches a ride on like the truck or whatever, and like there's a whole bunch of bugs on the windshield, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is the best way of traveling." And then they look over and they're like, "What does Jimmy think of it?" And then it's like, "Oh well, actually Jimmy's just dead." I thought that joke was hilarious, but other than that, I don't remember anything
Oh my
of significance.
Oh my
from the
goodness!
movie.
You put the B movie below Chicken Little. Like, how dare you?
Okay, we can put it above Chicken Little, just for the joke. At least I remember that joke. Whereas Chicken Little, I just remember the sky falling, and that was about it.
No, because like here's the thing. The B movie is good for so many reasons. Okay, it's hilarious. It's original. Like you can't take the movie serious. It's a talking bee suing humanity. Like how can what else do you want from a movie, Jock?
Okay, sure. Put the B movie above Chicken Little.
I'm gonna put it in S tier.
S tier?
Yeah. Come on. I mean.
Come on, put it at least in A tier. I don't think it belongs in S tier. Oh, he's really
Fine.
he's having trouble.
Fine. B movie A tier. Okay. Whatever.
Okay, so right now we have B movie A
Uh-huh.
tier.
Yep.
Brother Bear B tier, Chicken Little C tier, and Peter Pan C tier.
Yep. Okay. But like,
Okay, Bolt.
but like, you don't want to know why I put it in S tier, the B movie.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's go to Bolt.
Okay. Okay. Did you like Bolt back then?
I thought Bolt was pretty good.
Really?
It wasn't a movie that I wanted to rewatch,
Mm-hmm.
but it was interesting. Like a dog thinking it's a superhero, but really it's like a whole stage.
Uh-huh.
And like he's in everyone's just like pulling the wool over his eyes. I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it B tier.
Yeah.
Over Brother Bear.
B tier, yeah, I agree. It's I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but then the villain is kind of, what's the word?
meh.
forgettable. Yeah, it's very forgettable.
Yeah.
And the character arc is also not really that interesting. But the concept is good. It's watchable, I would say. So B tier.
It is watchable.
Mhm.
Yeah. Next one's Cars.
Oh, brother, I am so biased. Like this is like immediately S tier for me.
S tier. Okay, at the time when Cars came out,
Uh-huh.
I was one of those people who were like counterculture, and I was like, I don't want to watch a movie about a car. Why is there so much merchandise about the stupid car? And like it's kind of like the Frozen thing, where
Uh-huh.
like it just blew up, and
Right,
everyone
yeah.
knew about Cars,
Uh-huh.
and it was like widely acclaimed. I watched Cars twice,
Mhm.
and I have to admit it's a pretty good movie.
Hmm.
So S might be a bit of a stretch for me.
Okay.
I have it at high A,
Okay.
but if you want to put in S, I can put in.
Because
It's a solid plot.
yeah, well, everything is solid. Everything like the concept, the context, the setting. I would say the plot is a little bit weak, in the sense that you have like the town is forgotten because some highway was built. I always thought that was kind of stupid. But
Yeah, it's generic, but
Yeah.
sometimes generic's good. Like,
yeah.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and like here's the thing that why I love this movie so much, right? So back then, this was before I had cable in my room, so like we would have like a bunch of DVD.
In your room. Okay, not only did you have cable, now you have cable in your room. Did you have your own TV, Ethan?
Yes.
This guy. Okay, you guys don't know this, but every time, like, we're talking privately, he'll be like, "Oh, Jacques, I'm so poor. I only got like 70 cents in my bank account. I was poor back then too. You're so lucky, blah, 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 blah." And then come to find out he like has a TV in his room and like all this other stuff. I can't believe him. Like he was like giving me a hard time because he's like, "Oh, Ninjago Lego sets. Those are so expensive."
What?
Your monthly cable bill was expensive, Ethan.
I don't think cable was that expensive for us. I don't think cable is that expensive here. The internet though, it's expensive, but the cable wasn't. Okay. Okay. To be fair, yes, it was pretty sweet of me that I had a cable in my room. But then you have to remember, I wore the same set of shoes for like 5 years in my middle school years.
Okay, I have shirts that I had in high school that I still wear, Ethan.
Oh, me too.
You don't have to like pretend like
I'm not
you're
pretending.
out on the streets. Anyway, let's get back to the topic here. Cars. Is it A tier or S tier?
It is S tier because before I had cable in my room, I had a DVD player, and like so I only had 2 DVD for Cars movie. Like it only lasts for like 20 minutes of runtime. So, but like I didn't have any cable, like I didn't have anything else to do, so I just keep watching those 20 minutes of the movie, keep watching it, and it just sort of like embedded in my mind that
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. We can put Cars in S tier.
Yeah.
I think it's high A, but it's already messed up. We have Bugs Life in A tier. And like if it weren't for me, it would be an S tier. So like oh, not Bugs Life. We had bees in it. It's already ruined, Ethan. Anyway,
Do you have a problem?
next movie. Coraline.
Coraline. What do you think?
I think it's a great movie.
It's a great
Now,
movie.
I liked 9,
Hmm.
and I think, what's it called? What's the Halloween movie that's about Christmas? Is it Nightmare Before Christmas?
Is it the same studio? If it's the same, then
Yeah, the same studio.
Then I don't think I
Anyway,
know
I
about
thought,
it.
whatever the case,
Uh-huh.
Coraline's a solid movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does something that a lot of children movies don't do, and that's horror.
Mm-hmm.
And it does horror well. It's not like extremely graphic horror.
What do you
or,
mean? Well, yeah, it's not graphic.
Like, I don't mean there's no like blood or like gore or like jump scares really.
Uh-huh.
It's more just conceptual horror.
Hmm.
And I think that's why it's like super good.
Yeah, it's
And everything is just unnerving in that movie.
I remember watching this movie, got hooked into it, and thought it was just like, oh, just a funny little animation about this little girl that lives in this unhappy family life, and then it got dark so quick, like so quick. Like I remember the scene where she found out about a bunch of souls of a bunch of kids, and I think that's where it turned really dark, and I lost my sleep for like a straight up month.
I didn't find it like that scary when I was little, but
was.
I was like, boy, this is like it's not like your typical children's movie. And I think that's why it's really good.
It was so spooky. It was so scary for me. I just like, oh my goodness.
I
Good.
just think because Coraline's so different, it deserves S tier.
Yeah. No, it deserves an S tier.
It's not my favorite of like that kind of series, but it is definitely a solid movie. Okay, the next one,
A Goofy movie. I think I had
the
this.
Goofy movie.
I think I had. This is like the sequel. This is like the wrong cover. I was talking about the original one.
Ah,
Okay, but like, have you watched it, right? The Goofy movie. You said yes.
I was thinking of a different Goofy movie.
What do
I
you
was
mean?
thinking of the anime. Is this one animated?
Yeah, like the original and the sequels are animated, all of them.
Okay. So I probably know this one.
Okay.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I don't remember much from it, to be honest.
You
So
know, like,
I'll leave this one to you.
well, okay, let me run through the plot for you real quick. So Max is going to college, and then Goofy is kind of like, oh, you know, I want to be close with my son. And then they have this sort of clash, you know, like Max want to stay away from his dad, but like, and then, you know, at the end, they kind of worked it out together. And it was a sweet movie. And then, you know, Goofy found a new girlfriend that sort of made him busy. So instead of going to Max, he now has his girlfriend. But anyway, so that's like basically the plot.
I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
But just because it wasn't like very memorable,
Uh-huh.
I'd put it in B tier, maybe even C tier.
Huh, okay. I like the movie a lot. You know, it's sort of adventure.
We can put it in B tier.
Yeah.
Um,
High B tier. I would put it in
High
front of
B
Bolt.
tier.
Yeah. In front of Bolt.
Okay, in front of Bolt.
Yeah.
So right now we have go up Cars in S, Coraline in S, B's in A. B tier is the Goofy movie, Bolt, and Brother Bear. And then C tier is Chicken Little and Peter Pan.
I would put Chicken Little in D tier, to be honest. Anyway.
Yeah, let's put it in D tier. I don't know why it's above Peter Pan.
Well,
Let's keep Peter Pan in C and Chicken Little.
okay, next up.
Oh, another movie that like was really big when I was a kid, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't really see the.
You didn't finish it?
Well,
or-
it didn't move me, and no, I did finish it. It
Uh-huh.
didn't but it didn't move me in any
Huh.
like strong way.
Huh.
This is Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs. Great concept, cool idea. It had a lot of twists and turns, and I remember the ending very well. But I don't think I'd ever watch it again. I can tell we have different tastes, Ethan. I can tell we have different tastes.
Well, it's not like
What did you think of it?
when I was a kid, when I saw this movie, I thought it was like the coolest movie ever. Like it's something I've always dreamed of, like food falling from the sky and like you can control it. Like the scenes where he programmed the machine so that it will rain ice cream, and I was like, oh fuck me, like that's my dream right there. So
You and ice cream. Why do you love ice cream so much?
who
Like,
doesn't? Do you have
it's
a problem?
cold. Maybe it's because I come from Canada, but like ice cream's cold, Ethan. And it's super sugary.
Yes, well, it's super sweet. It's super sweet, but isn't that like the whole point of ice cream? Like it's cold and it's sugary and sweet and stuff. No,
I think it's because you come from a hot place and I come from a cold place. Maybe that's why.
maybe
But-
that's one.
To be fair, a lot of people like ice cream over here. So
Are you
maybe I'm
saying
just crazy.
okay? First person
Um,
ever to dislike ice cream. Everyone, where you put?
I never said I dislike it. It's just not my favorite. Okay, I'm putting it high B.
High B?
I know you.
Why not
I know
A?
You'd probably put an A. Is it
What?
above B's? Like I can put it above B's movie, but I already like have a trouble like putting B's in like A tier to begin with. I think both B's and like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is
Okay.
like B tier movies.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, let's put B movies in B tier, and then
Okay. And then we can. Okay, so right now we have S tier is Cars and Coraline.
Oh, I don't think
nothing
we.
in A.
Yeah, we can just.
And B tier is Bees and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, The Goofy Movie, Bolt, and Brother Bear.
Yeah.
And then C tier is Peter Pan, and D tier is Chicken Little.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to update it every time we make a change. That will be.
Yeah. I'm just quickly on.
Okay. Next up, Megamind. This one is a classic.
Oh, I loved Megamind.
I loved
thought it was
Megamind.
great.
It was a great movie.
I could put it even above Coraline.
Hell yeah.
It just like the villain.
Uh huh.
Doing a villain well
Mm-hmm.
in a kids movie and having them as the main character is very hard,
Hmm.
and it's not often done
Yeah.
because you have to make the villain somewhat of a good guy, but he can't be completely a good guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because he's the villain.
Uh huh.
And I thought Megamind did a great job of that.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that he was evil,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't like evil because he's just like a bad dude. It's just the circumstances led him to becoming evil,
Mm-hmm.
and really he has like a pure heart. And I thought that was excellent.
Yeah.
And
There's-
the ending was so good too.
Yeah, definitely. Like the twist where they found out what was the guy of the
The superhero
The superhero guy, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like the twist where he found like where they found out, like it blew my mind when I was a kid. Like I never saw that
Yeah.
coming.
And like he wasn't a bad guy either. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
he was
like
just
you know,
like-
the predictable twist where he's the true villain. No, it's just like he was like a lazy, unmotivated dude, right? Who had enough with being a superhero.
I wouldn't say he was lazy.
Well, he wasn't like he grew out of it. And
Yeah, he grew out. He moved on.
like,
Yeah.
It was a bit of a crime though, right? Because he had the superpowers, right? And
Uh-huh.
he kind of went about it the wrong way. And we all expect him to come back at the end, right? Because he has the superpowers still.
Mm-hmm.
But he never comes back at the end, which made it even better because we just
Yeah. You
good
know,
movie, good movie.
like there's so many good things about it that we'll be here all day. I feel like.
Yeah.
But like
Okay,
I would like.
so is it above Cars?
It is
or
a-
is it not above Cars?
It is above Cars, and like there are two reasons I want to tell you about it. The first one is that I just love how this movie sort of like played the idea of good and evil, and sometimes like it teach kids like sometimes life is not black and white, right? It's blurry, it's complicated, which is why I love the movie so much. It's so brand new, like compared to your typical superhero movie, good guy beat up
Like,
bad
if you-
guy. Yeah,
If you like compare it to any of the movies in B tier, it just shows how like great it is. Like I'd watch it over Bolt, I'd watch it over like Brother Bear, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Bees, the Goofy Movie, like all of them don't even like
no,
hold a
dude.
torch to this
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
Anyway, put it up there, put it in S, number
Okay.
one movie so far, and then we'll move.
Okay. Oh, and the
the
reason
next
why I love it so much is that it was like the first movie that my brother and I watched together, like the first ever. Yeah, so a lot of memories. Anyway, Next up,
Nausicaa.
Nausicaa.
This is a weird one because like a lot of people know Ghibli movies, right?
Yeah.
Totoro, Spirited Away. What's the one where like Princess Mononoke? But Nausicaa is like a movie that I think was geared towards children that isn't spoken of very much.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good movie, but I don't really think it's like a good movie for kids. It's a little too complex. And I know that like I read the book series of Nausicaa, or the comic book series of Nausicaa. And that was really good, and it like lengthened the story. I felt like the movie was like a shorter version of like the story, and because of that, those deep moments are kind of lost in it. It's just not very memorable. It's very like emotional. Like I remember how I felt watching it, and it's able to like really get these good emotional moments that often Ghibli movies do, but it's definitely not up there in S tier. I'd say like B tier, just for the difference, like just how different it is and how unique. But yeah, I don't think it's the most memorable movie.
It's tough for sure because to me it is memorable, but in the wrong way. because for me, I love the concept, you know, and it's like you said, it's kind of complicated for kids because it touch on a lot of problems. But here's the thing. I felt like it was kind of rushed. It was kind of rushed towards the end, which kind of like ruined the whole setting and how they were building everything up. So yeah, and then the bugs they kind of creep me out a little bit as a kid.
Well, I think they're meant to be somewhat creepy, but yeah, I'd say below Brother Bear. It's such a cool looking movie.
Yeah.
But it's not memorable for me.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Museum is our next movie.
Yep.
I cheated a bit, Ethan. I watched Night of the Living Museum 2. I've never watched Night of the Living Museum 1, but I imagine they're very similar. I could kind of tell what like Night of the Living Museum 1 was like just from like watching the second one. And I think maybe above Brother Bear, but I'd rather watch Bolt over that. I think it's a little too what's it called? Goofy.
Goofy.
Don't mind the pun, but it's like surreal in some way.
It's special, I would say.
Yeah,
and
it's special.
Yeah, I like it in the way that it touches your imagination. The same way that, you know, with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, you know, like it's the thing that you think about as a kid. But then I don't feel like the execution was that great. And I also hated the villain. Like for some reason I just hated him. Like so I don't have a very strong opinion. I would put it in C tier.
Okay, C tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can. I'd probably even watch Nausicaa over
yeah.
Night of the Living Museum.
So C tier.
Yeah.
It is very
this
nostalgic.
One's a cool.
Oh, Over the Hedge.
It's very nostalgic. It it really like encapsulates the time period. The CGI especially just is like so.
And like when you,
Anyway,
okay, yeah. No, I was just gonna say like, and you know, it sort of like reminds me of that time period where your parents sort of like take you to places. So that's kind of sweet, yeah.
Like here's a museum.
And anyway, next up is I think it's very special. Over the Hedge.
Over the Hedge. This is one that's like forgotten, I feel like.
Very
all of these movies, we tried to choose ones that weren't popular. But I think Over the Hedge is one of the movies that like
just
is the least remembered.
Yeah, like no one knows about it.
Now the CG was pretty bad, if I remember.
It aged, yeah. it ages not very good. But
But the main character was really good. Like I liked how he was like he wasn't doing it with good intentions at the start. He was like he was trying to pay back the bear, I think, for eating all his snacks or stealing all his snacks.
yeah,
And then he like, he's like the one who poisons the well in the community at first, but later on comes around and becomes like more of a good guy. And I thought like the villains were done well. Like each villain was unique and served their purpose well in the movie. I thought the concept was cool. Like just, these animals looking over at like how humans are living and then just trying to mimic it. Whoever came up with that idea, like props on them. Good movie.
good movie.
I don't think it's like low B tier is where I'd put it. Around the same place as Nausicaa, Brother Bear, and Bolt. I think Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is better than Over the Hedge by a mile, so definitely not above that.
I would put it over Bolt.
Over Bolt.
Yeah, because
I think I liked Bolt a little bit more just because I think Over the Hedge did more things than Bolt, but Bolt did like one thing and it did it like pretty good. But yeah, we can put it over Bolt.
I agree with you. But for some reason, I just like I enjoy my time watching Over the Hedge compared to Bolt because
Okay.
on one hand, the plot is not something very new, right? It's not like they're doing something groundbreaking here. But at the same time, it's funny. It's a bunch of animals just having a beef with white suburban moms, and I feel like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Put it over Bolt.
yeah.
Next one, 101 Dalmatians.
I gotta
Not
be
a fan of it.
not a fan of it. Yeah, no. Well, it's not a bad movie per se, but
No, like there's the new movie Cruella, which I thought was okay. It wasn't the best, but it didn't even watching that movie, I didn't feel like going back and watching 101 Dalmatians. It's an old movie.
It is. I always skip it when it was on air. I was like,
Yeah.
I watched it once and I was like, this movie again. You know?
It just feels old. Like there's movies that are old movies that you can watch even though they're old movies because they just have such a unique spirit to them. Like I think of Dumbo, right?
Yeah.
Dumbo I could watch over and over again. I think the story is like good. I think it's so unique. 101 Dalmatians, it's just it doesn't really progress. It's just like this lady wants these puppies and it's obvious that she can't get them because like first of all there's like 101 of them. Like how's she supposed to grab all of these puppies? Like it's just there's too many characters, I think.
Right.
So I might even watch Chicken Little over 101 Dalmatians.
Same.
Okay.
I don't like
Bottom
Chicken Little
D tier
that much, but then when it comes to that movie, no, bottom D tier. Not much to say about it.
Next one.
Rescuers.
I quickly when we were thinking of this idea of like doing all these old movies, I watched a little bit of Rescuers again.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was pretty bad,
Uh-huh.
but when I was a kid, I thought it was pretty good. Like it wasn't like my go-to movie by any means, and it wasn't a movie that like I really like ever thought about watching. But it had an emotional impact to it. I think for some reason it was different from like all the other movies that I had watched. And I don't know. I don't know why. It seems so foreign and it seems so different. Like the characters like being just like this husband and wife like traveling around. on a bird is so different from like these young, teenage like characters or like young animals like
Like Chicken
doing
Little.
things like Chicken Little. It was different, and I think I liked that difference as a kid. So I'd even put it above Nausicaa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd put it above Brother Bear.
I have to be fair with you. A lot of movies here, the reason why I put them so high on the tier list is not because they're good, like great movies. Well, they're good, but some of them I feel like they have a lot of emotional impact to me. So that's why I'm kind of biased in that way. And I can see that with The Rescuers, you also feel.
Yeah, I don't think like it was especially good movie, but I think it was a movie that it was different. It marked a time period, and yeah, it was good. I could put it above Nausicaa.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have any strong opinion towards it because, to be honest with you, my memory of it is just like so blurry. Like I couldn't even remember what it was about, but I do remember the characters. Yeah.
I think the characters were the most like memorable part of the movie. Anyway, the next movie, Robots. This one has been like completely forgotten in the oblivion.
Which is
I
such
think
a
no one
shame
remembers
because I think it's a solid movie. There's nothing bad with
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
Like it's not like amazing. I think the villain is especially good in this movie. And like his like big like evil like junk robots that like eat all the trash and things are like super like cool looking. I found as a kid, and I even bought a toy like that. That had like the junk robot in it.
You should have brought it on stream.
I don't have it anymore. I got rid of all my toys, but it isn't an excellent movie. I don't think it's. Do you see? I have kind of Bolt as this like middle ground movie that like separates the good movies from the bad movies, and I just use it as kind of like a way to like judge the other movies. And I don't know if I'd put it above Bolt. I think.
Really? Huh? I
don't know.
I feel like the reason why I love this movie so much is that it's the new thing about this movie is about. Oh my god, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's new. It's doing something new. You have this guy trying to figure his life out, pursuing his dream, but also he has to deal with the fact that his father is failing and everyone around him is sort of like they belong in a class and it's separated from the other class, which to me was something that's very bold to put in a children movie, I feel like. And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Okay. We can put it. Do you like it more than Over the Hedge?
I think I was gonna say like I'm gonna put it in A tier because I think this
A tier.
Yeah, because the movie like it's not
okay.
It's not too excellent, but then I think it deserves better. To
be fair, I'd watch Bolt over Robots, but I'd watch Robots over Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So. Sure, let's put in A tier then.
Sure, okay, let's put in an A tier, and then maybe I'll lower Cloudy with a Chance.
No, you don't have to. I think Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is good.
Okay.
I'd put it over the Goofy movie for sure.
Okay.
And to be fair, I'd put it over the Hedge too. I think it's a better movie than that. I think it is even a better movie than Bolt. Yeah, it deserves where it stands. Bees, on the other hand.
Come on.
Anyway, let's get to the next one, which is a good movie, which I think deserves high A tier. And that is Surf's Up.
Yep.
Another movie that's been forgotten in time, but had like so many good jokes. Like when he's peeing on the wound, like heal the wound, and like the chicken's talking about his father and like how proud his father is, and then we like get to the cutscene and we see like his father's image on like the pack of chicken that's like fried chicken that's offered. I thought that was hilarious. And then it also like it was good because I don't think the main character doesn't win the contest in the end, right?
Right.
It's actually the chicken who wins, who's like the more carefree, laid back person. And it just teaches you that you don't have to always be so serious at doing things, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was a solid movie, and I'd put it in A tier, probably over Robots.
I feel like with this movie, you have to explain this movie and what it's about to people, because I don't think I've met more than 2 people that I know that actually know about this movie. So,
Like, I don't know why it's so like forgotten, but
Yeah.
it is a solid movie.
yeah. But listeners, if you're confused and you don't know what we were talking about, it's a movie about what is it about, John?
It's about surfing.
It's about
And,
surfing.
like how
But-
cool surfing is.
Yeah.
And like I think there's like this rock, and they like have to like try and it's either a rock or a wave, and they're like
Trying to like conquer
main
it.
character,
Yeah.
has to conquer it, and it's just a solid movie.
It's a solid movie. A bunch
Can
of
we put it in A tier?
Yep. Agree. Solid movie. Higher A tier even.
Above Robot. Above Robots. It's not as good as Coraline though. I think
For sure.
Coraline is miles above
No, like
Surf's Up. And the same with Cars. Cars is basically Surf's Up, but does it a little bit better.
yeah.
Same kind of movie.
Okay, last one.
Last movie on the tier list.
Last movie on the tier list. Wimpy. Is it Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Yeah, I don't even.
If this wasn't like I don't even a diary, right? It wasn't based on like the actual comic book, or is that comic book? I don't even know. If it wasn't based on the comic book,
Yeah.
and you hadn't read the comic book and don't have the comic book as a background, I think it could be a solid movie. But when you have it like up against like the comic, it doesn't even like hold the torch. Like
How so?
it's just such a shittier version of the comic book.
Because I never read the comic book, so I watched this movie when it was on HBO, and I thought it was a good movie. You know, it's up there with the whole Adam Sandler movies. Like compared to this to like compared to like those the movie Click, I think that this movie is like a way better version. Well, not a version, but like it's way better. So.
You see, this is the problem here. Like, I think if you believe this was all original and they just like created this movie out of
Out
like thin air,
Yeah.
you could put it like really high. It would be like, wow, this is like revolutionary. But basically, they just copied the comic book and made it worse. Like they had like the whole script in front of them. I don't know. It's such a decisive movie. I really don't know. Like once you read the comic book, the whole perspective of this movie changes. It's kind of like reading the Hunger Games and then like watching like the last movie of the Hunger Games and being like, this isn't what I signed up for.
So how about C tier?
Okay. Yeah, I'd put it over Night of the Living Museum.
So high C tier. Yeah.
High C tier. And that's it. I guess that's all the movies
That's
we've
it. That's all the movies.
watched.
When it
Now,
was
of course, we watched way more movies than this, but
Yep.
this is just the ones that both me and Ethan have watched.
So this is the final tier list for viewers on YouTube. But if you're on Spotify, I think we can run it through one last time.
Okay.
So-
I'll go through it very quickly.
Sure.
S tier, we have Megamind, Cars, and Coraline. A tier, we have Surf's Up, Robots. B tier, we have Bees, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Goofy Movie, Over the Hedge, Bolt, Brother, Third Bear, The Rescuers, Nausicaa, and then in C tier we have Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Night of the Living Museum, Peter Pan, and then D tier we have Chicken Little and 101 Dalmatians.
So yeah, those are the movies that we watched when we were a kid, and I think the S tier it's not just about good movies, but it is also about the impact that it had over you as a kid. I feel like so.
I think they are good movies though. Like they're really good movies.
They are really good movies.
I think B tier is the one that's debatable, but
yeah, yeah.
It's our tier list. We just gotta deal with it. Let's go to our fun tier list now.
Okay. So, viewers, we have a bonus round. Chuck and I kind of thought about it. We are gonna rate Disney princess movies. Yes. When we were a kid. When we were a kid, we actually watched a bunch of Disney princess movies.
Just let me preface this.
Okay.
So initially, our idea was to rate Disney movies, Disney princess movies, and like famous philosophers based off their looks. And we started the podcast, and Ethan's computer
just fucking
stopped
crashed.
It exploded. So we lost all the footage. And then we were like, well, now Ethan knows what I think of the Disney movies, and I know what he thinks of them. So it won't be as fun anymore. And we want to have like something that's at least somewhat fun. So because it was such a great idea to rank the Disney movies, we thought might as well make it a bonus round.
Okay.
And there's a big issue here. The big issue is a lot of these movies I actually have never watched. I read them because my aunt bought me like this box full of like Disney movies in book form, and I read like a lot of these princess movies instead of watching them. So my memory is very like faded, and some of these movies I haven't even watched like ever because I was too old. Ethan also has a very faded memory of these movies, and so like we're really just basing these movies off of
what we heard,
tiny bits of memory.
Yeah, what we heard.
We can gather. So let's just begin and see how good it turns out. What's the first movie there, Ethan? I can't even see it.
It's the sleeping. I don't even remember the name, but it's like the sleeping princess in the jungle, and then she was cursed, and then the only you hear my
yeah. I remember that movie.
What's the name?
It has the dragon. I know like the new movies like Maleficent, right?
Yeah.
That's the new series that's come out. But honestly, it's a forgettable movie.
It is very
it's the
forgettable.
one with the dragon, and she's blonde, and I think she's like sleeping or something, and she needs a kiss.
Got a curse,
yeah. Got some kind of curse. I say it's E tier, and possibly even F tier.
I agree with F tier because it's so forgettable. Like I barely remember what about it.
I don't even remember the title. All these other movies I remember the title of, but this one, like even the ones I haven't watched, I remember the title.
Yeah, F tier. Okay. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
And
Snow White.
Okay, I was gonna go through like
Sure.
I remember the one problem that I have with this movie is it was so like it rely on this gender norms that women need to be safe from a man. And like the guy just like went on to this girl and kissed her while she was sleeping without consent. And to me that was kind of weird, even as a kid. You know, I was like, why is he doing that? Like,
like it was a strange movie. And yeah, there's that whole politics side to it. I think we'll really get into that like with Pocahontas. But
yeah, okay.
Before we get there, let's tackle Sleeping Beauty is the next one.
Is it?
I like Sleeping Beauty.
I think that's Snow White.
Is
That's Snow White.
Is that Snow White? Oh yeah, sorry.
No, but like we can go with Beauty and the Beast.
No, okay.
Okay.
Just wait. Was the one we just ranked Sleeping Beauty?
No,
Was
it
it
was
not?
the sleeping. What was it? The name?
Whatever. Okay, Snow White. Yes.
Okay,
I
Snow
meant
White.
to say Snow White. I
Mhm.
just, for some reason, Sleeping Beauty came out of my mouth.
I think that's
Snow White.
Okay. I think that's
I thought-
Sleeping Beauty. But anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Yes. Snow White. That is a good movie. Yes, it's very old,
Mm-hmm.
but because it's old, the animation is super cool.
Mhm.
It looks kind of like watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the plot was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The antagonist, she was pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
And the dwarves were funny
Mhm.
and quirky.
Yeah.
And the main character, I forget her name.
Snow White.
Just Snow White, I guess. Yeah,
That's the
she,
name.
she she did a good job. Like, it wasn't like groundbreaking, but it's a good movie to watch. So I'd put it in A.
Yeah, I already did that, but I was gonna change. Solid movie, solid plot, and especially the animation. I feel like that's the thing that I like the most because I watched this in the 2000. You know, like back then things were starting to hop between 2D animation and 3D animation, and this one it just like
Yeah.
it has like
I
the
feel
best
like-
vibe.
I feel like when Tangled came out, that
Mhm.
was when like 3D animation really like started to look crisp.
Hmm.
Snow White is just like
Your classic drawn by
it's
hand sort of animation back in the 60s.
even it's even better than like animation like I think it's even better than Tarzan, Lion King,
Mm.
and other like classic Disney movies,
Hmm.
just because it's so bubbly and cheerful.
Mhm.
Anyway,
You haven't watched
Next movie.
Tarzan.
I haven't watched Tarzan, but I've seen clips and I've heard the song many times.
Okay.
So
All right. Next up, we have Princess and the Frog, right? Is that the name? I can't really
yes,
tell.
Princess and the Frog, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Princess with the Frog. I never watched this movie. I saw it in a mall at one of these kind of like vending machines, but it's like a gambling type of vending machine where you press the button, and if you press it at the right time, the movie pops out.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize it was done by Disney, so I thought there was a knockoff of Snow White, which I'm completely wrong. It isn't a knockoff of Snow White, but at the time when I was little and I was dumb, that's what I thought. And then afterwards, I never saw this movie ever again. Ever so often, you see her pop up on like princess merchandise, but I think it's a really underrated movie. And from the look of it, it looks pretty good, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty underrated. The thing is, I actually talked about this with Jock yesterday, but then our recording just kind of crashed. But I was talking about how I love the setting of the movie. I think it's very brand new, and you have this princess character who is like trying her best to have things work out for her, which is a lot different from a lot of these princess movie that you think of, right? And I think the music is great. The characters are likable, especially the witch and also the crocodile. Of course, Jacques, you didn't watch it, so you don't really know what I'm talking about. But yeah, lovable characters, great music.
From what I know, a lot of people put it in A and S tier, so I'm guessing that's where it belongs.
I think I will put it on high A tier. Probably,
Okay.
I wouldn't rewatch Snow White, but I would rewatch Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
Okay, just gonna put it up there.
Yeah, you can put it above Snow White. I don't think Snow White is the best Disney movie ever made, even though, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we have Aladdin.
Aladdin. Oh, I didn't like this movie.
I didn't. Well, I don't hate it. I don't have really strong opinion about it. It's kind of meh.
I felt it was cool. But back then I was reading like 101 Nights. Oh, I might be just thinking of 101 Dalmatians, but I was reading like mythology from that time period, and I found that this one was like kind of just a watered down version of that when I was a kid. The Open Sesame and things like that. I was reading those kind of fairy tales, and yeah, I just found Aladdin and the magic carpet. I never was like, as a kid, I was never like, I want a magic carpet. That seems so cool. So yeah, it just I think it never really struck a chord with me, and I'd put it in C or D tier.
I'll put it on C just because it's so.
Okay.
It's like in the middle. It's not good, but it's not great either. But okay, but like I have one question for you. So, what was considered cool to you, like in all of these movies that we rated?
Well, we're going to go over them, so I can tell you what I found cool.
Okay.
But I didn't find the genie cool. Let me just say that.
Okay. All right. Next up, I have no idea what that movie is about because I haven't watched it. And the name is, I think it's Maori? No. Mona?
Oh, Mohana?
Mohana? Mohana. Is it Mohana? Moana. It's
Yeah.
Moana.
Yeah. I never watched it either.
Never watched it?
It came out when I was too old.
Too old.
However, I kind of like the characters. Not gonna lie, I like the big guy in the back. He's not your typical prince. So, based off of that, I could give it.
I don't think that's a
I'd
prince.
put it above Aladdin. So
Maybe B tier? Yeah.
yeah, well, high C. Let's put in high C.
Okay.
Maybe we're completely wrong.
Uh-huh.
I've heard people say that it isn't that great of a movie. So
I don't think that's the prince. I think that's her granddad, I feel like. Because I briefly watched it, but like I didn't finish it. Oh,
okay. So it's a granddad.
Yeah.
I heard that it wasn't that great, but that was this is really based off of hearsay, and I'm just going off of the visuals alone. I like it more than Aladdin, just
yeah.
because of the visuals.
Sure. Little Mermaid is next.
Okay. Lots of people like Little Mermaid. I didn't find it was that great.
Me too.
I thought the villain was kind of creepy. I know villains are meant to be creepy, but this is like on another level.
Creepy in not a good way.
And I know a lot of people think Ariel's cute, and I can see why she's cute, but she never like felt very relatable to me. She just felt like kind of there. Like she wasn't like the main Disney princess I'd think about when I think about Disney princesses. So I'd put it maybe above Aladdin.
Is it because she is a fish?
No, not just because she's a fish. It's just, I don't know. She just seemed kind of out of place amongst the Disney princesses. So
Oh.
I'd say a C tier.
But like, do you think it's because she is a fish? Because she's like the only.
I don't think it's because she's a fish. Like,
Okay.
you know, I'm trying to think of the other ones. Like, yeah, I not because she's a fish. Just I guess she just doesn't seem like a princess. Her personality,
Ooh.
like wise. Like you think of, like of course, Pocahontas doesn't seem very much like a princess, but she still seems kind of royal in some ways.
She seems important, right?
She seems important. Ariel, like
Just like a little.
I don't know, like how important she was to the kingdom. To be honest with you, like
Well, I know that she had a bunch of sisters, so that's already sort of like,
okay.
yeah.
So are we putting her in high C tier, like the movie, or are we putting it in
Mermaid, I'm thinking about like E or maybe D.
E or D? Let's put in D tier.
I
I
don't-
don't think it was that bad of a movie. Like nothing compared to Sleeping Beauty. I believe it is the last one.
Yeah.
That's an F tier. Okay, Pocahontas. I know
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas is very controversial right now.
It's always been
But I think-
controversial.
I think just because the music's so good in Pocahontas and like for its time, I thought it was pretty good. Like it showed like the problem with colonial society and how they see like the world just in resources and the indigenous people like they were more like caring about the land and things like that. So for its time, I thought it did a good job. Nowadays, this idea of indigenous people being feminized and like just like being this beautiful princess for the colonial other is problematic, but I still think it's a solid movie. I always found the tree was a little bit a little scary looking, but I'd put it over Mohana. I'd put it at high C, even maybe B tier, just
Maybe
because
B.
of the music being
Yeah,
so good.
I'll put it in B. Well, here's the interesting. You find the tree in that movie scary, but you don't think Coraline was creepy.
No, I didn't find Coraline.
Oh my goodness.
I found the raccoon kind of looked a little weird too in that movie. Anyway,
Cinderella.
Cinderella. I love Cinderella kid.
It's-
Like really, really young.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why I found it so great because it's not that amazing of a movie, but I think it does a lot. And it really kind of laid the groundwork of a princess movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's such a classic.
I'd put it in B tier, like
B
next to
tier?
Pocahontas, just because of like how it kind of established the genre.
Uh-huh.
And I think the animation was also very solid. It might not be as good as Snow White, but it's up there.
Cinderella. Here's the thing. I like this movie because in our Vietnamese culture, we do have our version of Cinderella. And I remember my mom keeps telling me about it. And when I watch this movie, I just reminded of that. I just get reminded of that, which is why I like this movie. It's sort of like the familiar sense that I have whenever I watch this. So I'll put this on maybe high B tier.
Sure, high B tier.
I wouldn't
We
put
can put it above Pocahontas. I
Yeah.
think it's better than Pocahontas.
Mhm.
Frozen.
Frozen.
Never watched Frozen. I was past my time, and it was the same kind of thing as Cars. I saw it everywhere, and I was like, I don't need to see it in theater.
I never understand why it's so popular. Like the plot is not that it's not that good, and it felt kind of rushed, especially the villain at the end. It feels super rushed. And like
I
there's
just know it. Like I did watch the movie, the part of the movie that has the song and where she's building the castle.
Mhm.
I thought that was really cool, and it was a very powerful scene.
Mhm.
But I admit, like I looked at the cast in Frozen, and the snowman looks goofy. The reindeer looks like goofy. Why is there like two women and two guys? It looks off, and I'm just completely based off of face value. And from what I've learned, judging things off of face value, you're completely wrong most of the time. But in this case, I'm judging it off of face value. I think it's C tier.
I would put it in E tier. I don't think it was
E tier?
Yeah, because I like the fact that
You'd
it wasn't
watch.
great, and then people hyped it so much that I just hate it now. I don't have any. I don't think it's a great movie. First of all, and second of all, I don't think it deserved the
I've
fame.
never watched the movie,
Uh-huh.
but I'd say that it looks better than Little Mermaid. Like I think I'd watch it over Little Mermaid.
I think I would rather watch Little Mermaid.
Okay,
Yeah.
how about next to Little Mermaid then?
Okay, yeah, because let me go through why it's so bad. Because first of all, the plot is not. It's really sort of like it's not clear. I would say it's not clear. It's not like you jump in a movie, you're invested in where it's gonna be, and where this is going, and what the character has to go through. In this movie, I just don't feel that. And the second reason is that the plot is super rushed, like so rushed. You feel like they just add a bunch of sequence together and call it a movie. I feel like,
Okay,
yeah. So very bad movie.
sounds good.
Not recommended.
I always felt like the characters, I really liked the main character's hairstyle,
Hmm.
but I always found like the way the characters looked
Hmm.
kind of strange. It, like, you'd think like, I am used to that anime style,
Hmm.
but this is like beyond. Like their heads are so big compared to their bodies. It's just the proportions
Okay.
they look kind of alien-like.
Okay. Let me
Maybe it's just because of the 3D, but
maybe. Okay. Let me just give you an example why the plot is so rushed. Like feels so rushed. Okay. Look at the cover and who do you think is the main character?
just based off of all I've seen, I guess that it's the snowman. I'm joking. It's the girl in the blue dress, right?
Which blue red? Was it like Elsa? The
Elsa, yeah, Elsa.
See, that's the thing. Elsa is not the main character. Like the plot
Don't
is
tell
just
me
like
it's the snowman. I was very sad. Or the reindeer.
oh, yeah. So yeah, I'll just let you know that the plot is just all over the
Okay.
place. But anyway, and it's not Elsa.
Sure. Next,
Yep. Next up,
next movie.
Tangled.
Tangled, right?
Yep, Tangled.
Yeah.
There,
Um,
Rapunzel.
I remember watching Tangled and thinking, wow, 3D actually can look pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it didn't stand out to me at the time when I watched it,
Mm-hmm.
but talking to other people and like them, like when we went to karaoke, they'd sing the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Seems like a solid movie.
Mhm.
And the way she uses her hair to like grab things and do like stuff
Mm-hmm.
is so unique and just like not something you'd think about that I can put it up there. I wouldn't say it's the best movie I've ever seen,
Mm-hmm.
but I could even put it close to Snow White, either or above or below it.
I feel like this could be our S tier princess movie. The plot is good. It's very creative. The concept is great. The villain is also very new. You have this sort
Sure.
of dynamic. Yeah.
We can put it S tier.
Yeah.
I
feel like-
think even Snow White, like when I was looking at it, I was like, it's probably above Snow White.
Mhm.
And of course, I've never watched Princess and the Frog, so I don't know.
Mhm.
Comparison to that. Brave.
Brave.
Never seen Brave. I remember looking at the poster when I was watching something, going to watch something else, and thinking, "Oh, is that a princess movie?" And yeah, it turns out it is a princess movie. I think the only thing I know about Brave is like when the character of Brave shows up in Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2, and Wreck-It Ralph 2, there's like all the princesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scene was like they're all talking to, I think, either Ralph or the little girl, I forget her name. And then like Brave like comes up and she starts talking. And then like they don't understand her, so then they look to the princesses, and the princesses are like, we don't even understand her either. I found that was so funny. But just because she's so different,
Mhm.
I could put her up there. This is totally based off of appearance, but it's like the same thing as Mohana. Like, looks completely different than like your typical princess. I'd say even like more so than Mohana. So I could put her high C, even possibly B tier.
I would put her in B tier. I think it's it's not too exceptionally good, but it has something new in it. And I like the new thing that they introduced in that movie. So yeah, B tier.
I was thinking it kind of looked like it was like taking inspiration from the Hunger Games.
Hmm.
It's just like
Do you
girl
mean
with bow and
the
arrow.
bow and arrow?
That was like such a big trend for a while.
Okay, next one. Mulan.
Mulan. This is my S tier.
Classic.
Um,
Classic.
it just it was different.
Hmm.
When it came out,
Hmm.
it was about war, right? So like
Yep.
she actually fights,
Mhm.
unlike any of the other princesses. And she like tries and proves herself, like
Mhm.
amongst men, and she even like becomes like better than the men that she's training with, even though like at first like she's seen lesser than the men.
Hmm.
I thought, yeah, I just thought it was such a different princess movie for its time.
Hmm.
That, and it was like it almost seemed like a boys movie more than like a girls movie,
Hmm.
because it was so action based
Mhm.
rather than like love. Like the plot was completely abandoned, like
Yeah.
him coming to propose to her. Like
Hmm.
I even felt like they didn't even need like the couple really dynamic in it,
Hmm.
because it was just about her defeating the Huns.
I gotta say, yes, that's an S tier movie. Great movie, a lot of action packed, and the dragon. It's so funny, so likable.
Yeah.
I like when I was a kid and I watched that movie. I had a face where I wish I had a dragon buddy in my pocket, just like him. So yeah.
However,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it's above Tangled, because it doesn't feel like a princess movie.
Is that a bad thing?
I think on a princess movie tier list,
Mhm.
it is kind of a bad thing.
Mm.
Um,
If it's like a boy movie tier list, then I
like it's almost like it's almost like Tomb Raider or something, right?
right, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's high.
Mhm.
Highest.
Okay, final one.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, we started with this one last time,
Yeah.
and we put it kind of low. But now looking at all the other like movies,
Hmm.
I could have it like high B tier. I don't think it's above Cinderella,
Hmm.
but I'd put it in between Cinderella and Pocahontas.
Hmm.
And my only issue with Beauty and the Beast is I find like the candle people, the candle and teapot people, kind of strange inclusions in the movie. I felt like they needed someone like, because they couldn't just be her and the Beast. They need like intermediary figures, so they had like these weird candle people. And Gaston is like a nice rival to the Beast, and like the fight at the end is dramatic.
Hmm.
It's almost Lion King kind of levels, where it doesn't feel like a children's movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like that movie is like defined by certain scenes, and the rest of the movie is just meh.
Hmm. Oh, you can hear my cat in the background. The thing is, I liked the movie, but I didn't like the movie when I was a kid because this was so dark to me. I feel like, you have this Gaston guy trying to grab the princess's wife and try to kill the beast, then claim it. I feel like it's very dark, and also these little people as furnitures that the beast lives with. I feel like as a concept, I don't think for a kid movie it was lighthearted enough. But that was me anyway. But I like the movie.
These old movies, they were like real like villain movies. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
so you look at Cinderella,
Uh-huh.
Beauty and the Beast, and Snow White, and you think to yourself, the villains in those movies, like, they'd like kill you in an instant.
Evil. Yeah.
Whereas the villains in like these other movies,
Uh-huh.
they're bad, but you don't get like the sense that like as soon as you turn your back,
Uh-huh.
you get like a whole bunch of knives.
See, this is why I have such a big problem with Frozen, is that the villain feels so lame. It's so lame compared to all the movies you have here. Anyway, that's our list, and I feel like it's been more than an hour. Wow, what an episode! That was a pretty long
It's
episode.
a big episode. It
Yeah.
was a fun episode, though. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
We might do a tier list in the future. It's a little bit more relaxing. I feel like it's not as intensive as our other episodes.
Intense? Like you felt intense doing.
Well, like we're actually getting along here. Usually it's just me making fun of you, and then then we call it an episode and move on to the next one. But instead, we're agreeing for once, Ethan. I didn't know we could do this.
Except for the B movie.
I don't know why you found the B movie.
I don't know why you have such a problem with it. People like it not because it's such an exceptional movie. People like it because it's a B movie. the only one B movie.
Is this why people like Cars? Because it's a movie about cars.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say people like Cars because it's a car movie. It's a NASCAR movie. No, it's a different. But anyway, I think that will wrap us up. Our episode. We went through a lot. We went through a bunch of old movies in the past, and we also did a little bit on princess movie, even though we haven't watched all of them. If you disagree with us, feel free to
We're
send
sorry, but you're wrong. Our opinion's absolute, and
You're stupid for disagreeing with us.
yes. We based this off of research and academic findings, so we know we're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for joining us once again. Next episode, we're going to be doing something interesting too, but we're going to keep it a secret for now because sometimes surprises are nice.
Yeah. And
Thank you very much. Have a great night or morning. For me, it's night. For Ethan, it's morning. And bye-bye.
Well, you heard Jock. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's quite new, and I like this. And see you next week. Stay safe out there.